Training, residency, fellowship, and the excitement of moving to a new city and getting a new job, I'm taking a break from medicine. And I know that probably sounds crazy to some people. I'm experiencing what the majority of physicians, especially surgeons, experience in the first 2 years of practice.
Guys, so I was scrolling as I was waiting for my hair to deep condition. I barely dried my hair and I had to come on here and do this video. So I came across a video of Dr. Iggy who does spine surgery or whatever. He said that he's stepping away from the medical field to do content creation full time. The comments were coming in and a lot of them were not very positive. People are just like, why? The first thing I want to say, at the end of the day, we're all human and we have the right to evaluate and see if the things that are in our lives, the people, the places that we're in, are adding fulfillment. And also, you have the right to question whether something that maybe you wanted at one point is really what you want at the end. I'm all about realizing how life is so short and you have to live it the best way you know how. Like the best way that's for you. And if that means stepping away from a big job that everybody's like, oh my gosh, you are in such a great job, what are you doing leaving? Like, do that. There was a video that I watched a couple years ago of this doctor who left being a doctor to be a chef. And people were just like, oh wow, that's not as much money as being a doctor. But he was like, it brought him joy to be in the kitchen, seasoning food and serving people in a different way. The comments that were coming in, one of them I had to address, of this black man that came on here and said, you're an influence to boys and girls who are also people of color. You influence them. How dare you do this? And everybody was leaving a lot of comments. And these comments have nothing to do with looking at the reasons why this guy is really stepping away. Because if you're not in somebody's shoes, you don't know what they're dealing with every single day. There's people who have these jobs that everybody looks at and goes, oh my gosh, that's the best job ever. That's it. You got it. You got it made. Like, what are you doing leaving? But nobody knows what goes behind the scenes. I started watching a lot of videos with other doctors and seeing the reasons why they've left the field. And a lot of them, it makes sense. And I'm just going, yes. A lot of them said, they romanticized the whole field. And when they went into it, after a couple of years, they realized it's not it. Because it's now a corporation. The systems have changed. It's no longer about the patient. The other one that somebody said is, you've done all the training and done the schooling. And you're so far in that you go along and do it. And then you slowly realize, oh my gosh, this is not what I wanted for my life. And you change. And it's okay to do that. We have to be okay with people saying that something is no longer working for them and they're stepping away. If anything, I think this is telling people, don't stay in something just because it looks good in other people's eyes. Because they feel that you are a representative or somebody who influences people in a certain way. So you have to keep up face because that's what's good for them. Because at the end of the day, life is short and it's all about you. You have to decide what's best for you. And I really was like, you go. Maybe, for everybody, it's not all about money. It's all about, for some people, it's reevaluating what they want in life. And that could be being a chef and not being a doctor. That could be doing social media. Because at the end of the day, maybe he's going to do the same thing. It's just, he's not performing surgeries, but maybe he could talk more about surgery and all that stuff and that whole field and get a whole new audience of people. And that's maybe his calling at the end of the day. Maybe wasn't his calling. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people sometimes go into the medical field because all their family members did it. Sometimes people do things for the reasons that it's for everybody else, but not them. And so I just give him credit for evaluating and saying, wow, this is becoming whatever, and let me step out for a second and think about it. Maybe this time he can realize, like, oh, maybe this is not what was really meant for me to begin with. There's people who are doing things because it's what's right, it's what people think is good for them, it's what their family did, blah, 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 and it's not about them. And I think anybody that can really step back, especially at his age of 30, to step back and be like, hey, I'm taking a break. That break can really be the eye-opener. Maybe now he's spending time doing videos and he feels so much joy and it doesn't drag having to go in a hospital, Maybe he doesn't have to do that. I remember a couple years ago when I got my bachelor's degree, I thought I knew what I wanted, and then I was in a cubicle for about a year and I started feeling like I was just cooped up, and I started feeling like this is not my life. This is not what I want for the rest of my life. And even though I didn't know what I wanted, I stepped away, and it was so different for me. During those times, I was on my camera, you know, recording videos or showing what I was wearing and all that stuff. Even though, you know, I'm not saying that I'm in a great place, but at least I made the decision and realized, like, this is not my life. Like, I was pulling my hair out. I dragged, you know, when Sunday night was coming, because Monday was going to be there. And here I go, clocking in and clocking out 9 to 5 for a whole year. It took a toll on me. So sometimes you have to be able to step back and figure out what the heck do you want for your life. Is something really serving you anymore? Or you need to look elsewhere. People are like, oh, why don't you just continue doing medicine while you do social media? And I'm like, it could be a little interesting. Because people think social media is something that's easy. Turn on your camera, record video. No, it's not that. It's more than that. So maybe it's becoming a little bit too much for him. And he's looking like, hey, maybe the money's not as big, but and as guaranteed and consistent. But what he's getting from it is, it cannot be, it's not something that he can put value on. So I just really was shocked that people really were against what he's saying. And even though he didn't say he was leaving medicine, he was taking a break. People were just like, how dare he? And because he's a person of color, people are just harder on him. Like, do you know how many people would love to be in the position you're in? Like, how dare you? You know? And I think that maybe plays a role, because I've seen others who are not people of color who said the same thing. And people are like, go out there and explore and discover what you want in life. And people are more supportive. But here, because he's a person of color and he's in a field that's dominated, but with other people that are, you know, a certain race or whatever, how dare you say that this is not maybe what you want anymore and you want to take a break? That's really what I think this whole negativity that came towards his video was. You know, I just was like, wow. At the end of the day, it's his business what he wants to do with his life. It's not ours. It's not because, oh, well, I'm a person of color and it's just, you are like the first to do this and that, so therefore you should put up with whatever crap and do not leave that field, blah, 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 because of that. No, I support him. I'm like, do what makes you happy. That's really where I'm at.